Merry Christmas Eve. Welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to do something that some of you are going to be shocked at. You're going to be like, man, he's got the Christmas spirit. I'm going to talk about what went right in 2024 for Clemson football. I know, negative Nelly, Mr. Pessimistic, Mr. Never Happy. I'm going to talk about what went right in 2024. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys that's going to be back. Please don't let them hit the portal next year. But first, welcome to the channel. As I said, Merry Christmas Eve. I'm a kid around Christmas. I love it. I love it so much. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And the whole reason for the season, I know that's cliche, is to me the most exciting part. And I just love, in fact, I'll be at church here in just a few. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, birth of Christ is wonderful, and the meaning behind it. And then, of course, the decorations and the fun and getting to give presents to people and just say, hey, listen, I love you. Maybe I got to spend as much as I wanted to. Maybe I didn't, but it's truly the thought that counts. It's just an incredible time of the year. All the wonderful movies. You may see a few clips in here, TV shows, clips I'm going to throw in here just for fun. I'm just in a quirky mood. If you like talking college football, you like talking Clemson football, and you like supporting someone who's independent media, someone said. Yeah, I should use. I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. There is a ton of you who has already subscribed, but I looked at the analytics the other day that said I had 25,000 returning viewers. So if just half of them subscribed, that'd be a really good Christmas gift for me. So I hope you'll do it. Okay, let's talk about Clemson football. If you are someone who watches me all the time, there's one thing you know about me. I can't get away from the problems. Really, I can't. I have a hard time with it when I know that that's going to be the very thing that undermines us. Like what happened at Texas. Everybody's like, we gave up 292 yards rushing? Oh, where'd that come from? Says the person who didn't pay attention to the 288 that we gave up against the Citadel. But today I'm going to talk about what went right. Maybe it's the Christmas spirit. Maybe it's the Christmas movies. TJ Parker came into this season, and we knew this guy was big coming out of high school. I mean, this guy was a machine coming out of high school. He killed quarterbacks on the weekend, the Friday nights there. But TJ Parker came in to Clemson, and he has immediately etched his name as one of the unbelievable talents to play on the defensive line for Clemson. This guy had 57 tackles this year. By the way, true sophomore. For any of you who's new, or maybe you're like, I can't remember if, is he a sophomore? Is he a junior? True sophomore. 57 tackles, 11 sacks. This guy is a beast. This guy's coming back next year. As I said, as long as the portal, nothing happens with the portal here. Please don't. But TJ Parker is what went right with Clemson this year. What went right? Say that really, really fast. He's one of the things that actually went right with Clemson this year. One of those players that no matter who he was playing, where he was playing, when he was playing, the guy had to be accounted for. The other team had to look at him and say, hey, Dan, where's he lining up? Because he could disrupt the play. TJ Parker, unbelievable season. Let's not go too far here. Let's stay on the defensive line. Peter Woods, another true sophomore, 26 tackles, 3 sacks. Peter Woods had injuries this year. He got injured, pretty bad one, against Appalachian State. And they moved him around. They gave him a shot at playing defensive end. And the guy's 6'2", 315, 320. And I thought putting him at defensive end, and I'm not knocking him there, but putting him at defensive end, I don't think that helped him. For me, I wanted to see him more D-tackle, but I know why they did what they did. I get it. But this guy, tandem with TJ Parker, would just raise eyebrows play after flipping play. And when you look at guys like these two, and you realize that they're true sophomores, they're not a junior, they're not a redshirt sophomore, it can't help but excite. I mean, you can't help but be excited. Let's stay on the defensive side of the ball. This guy could have and should have had more tackles. Why? Well, he should have been left on the field in certain games, and I think they should have got him involved a little earlier. But the time he was out there on the field, he did so well that the coaching staff would have looked like they didn't know football if they didn't put him out there. And that's Sammy Brown, the true freshman. 6'2", 235, 240 pounds, 48 tackles, 5 sacks. This guy was a beast. And that South Carolina game that he got pulled out early, he had 1 sack in that game. People couldn't, they were having a hard time wrapping up Sellers. This true freshman went out there and said, yeah, he's a beast, but so am I. Sammy Brown will be back next year. That is something that went right in 2024. Now, a guy who is a true sophomore and didn't have the season I think that he could have had. There was issues, and I really haven't got to break down what happened here with this player, but there were times this guy did not look as dominant as he did last year, but he was the leader on the team with interceptions, and he didn't have a bad season overall. I mean, he was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth leading tackler on the team. And he's a true sophomore. Khalil Barnes with 61 tackles and 4 interceptions. Now, everybody remembers Khalil Barnes last year having that incredible true freshman season. It's one of the main reasons we won the South Carolina game in Columbia. Picked up the backwards pass that no one realized it was a backwards pass except for the freshman, and he picks it up, houses it, turns around a couple of plays later, has an incredible athletic interception. Was he covering Leggett? Anyway, I can't remember. I want to say he was. True sophomore, folks. True sophomore. Let's stay in the backfield. Avion Terrell, 58 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions. Avion Terrell had a pretty good season. And there's been some people I know who's talked about, well, you know, he struggled here, he struggled there. Folks, everybody, y'all know me. I'm critical. I'm critical of myself. I'm critical of a lot of things. Now, my goal is not to be critical just to be critical. You know, you meet those people, it's like they'll point out a problem and they act like they're the smartest person in the room. For me, I think you're an intelligent person if you not only point out the problem, but you give a realistic solution, or at least say we have to search for a viable solution. So Avion Terrell had a pretty doggone good season. He's representing the family name quite well on the football field. He had 12 passes defended. He's had some pretty good games, folks. Again, Avion Terrell, a true sophomore. Now, I'm not going to be able to get to everyone, but I'm going to fly through the rest of this as far as the defensive side of the ball. Jaheim Lawson, Shaq Lawson's brother, came in, started playing some defensive end. The guy is doing pretty doggone well. He comes in there, he plays plays his brains out. As I said, I know I'm going to overlook some people. And then there was guys like Vic Burley who had a lot of injuries. So they're coming back, and you hope that they can get healthy. And I always butcher this guy's name, so I'm just going to hyphenate it or shorten it. Steph Green, the defensive tackle, he had a lot of injuries as well. But you have guys like A.J. Hoffler coming in. You have these guys who's been injured, and hopefully they can get healthy. I mean, I would be doing a great disservice if I overlook Shelton Lewis, a guy who had a pretty doggone good season a year ago. And this year, maybe not the season that he wanted, but hey, he has more time on the field. He has one more season under his belt. And so when you look at this defense, and you know they're going to lose a guy like Barrett Carter, you know they're going to lose R.J. Mickens, a fifth-year senior. You're going to lose these guys. But it's nice to see these other players that will come back. And I mean, there's some really good things that could go on for Clemson player-wise. You know what I almost started going, that the path almost started going down there. But I'm just trying to talk about what went right. Let's flip to the offensive side of the football. Now, I'm going to start with someone who they're a junior, but they have taken a lot of heat from the time they came into Clemson. And I talked about over and over, a guy doesn't go 45-0 in Texas 6A football and fake it that well. And I talked about all the things that's impacted his stats over the years, and people were telling me, even people who normally agree with me on a lot of things, it's like, Brian, I agree with you on a lot of things, but I disagree with you on this, and that's fine. I'm going to read you this guy's numbers between last year and this year. Cade Klubnik. In 2022, he was a true freshman. He only threw 100 passes. Remember, 55 of those were in the Orange Bowl. He threw 100 passes as a true freshman, was thrown into the fire after the whole thing went down with DJ, won an ACC championship. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 697 yards, 2023. Last year, the keys to the car was his. He was in his first year with Garrett Riley, still behind that offensive line that was not performing well whatsoever. Threw for 2,844 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. In the offseason, Sweeney said 5 of those interceptions were not his fault. We get to this season. 3,639 yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he decreases his interceptions by 33%. And then he almost doubles touchdowns thrown. Now you could say, well, Brian, he played in more games than he did last year. That's true. Then that interception rate should be higher. But the guy came in, and I can't always say that this year he was set up for success, but with all the crap Cade Klubnik was taking from so many people, the guy came in, performed, and I'm telling you this, he made Texas look, he was a problem for Texas. And had some things went our way on the other side of the football, and they didn't. But if they did, they stood a good chance of winning that game. And Cade Klubnik did a really good job in that Texas game. He was 26 of 43, 336 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Guy did a really good job. He's coming back next year, barring something crazy happening that I don't foresee happening. Now at running back, there's really not much to talk about right now. I know Gideon Davidson will be here. I know Marquise Henderson from BHP is going to be here. I know that we have Keith Adams Jr. I know Jay Haynes is going to be there. David Easy, I'm going to leave the rest of his name alone, is going to be there. Who knows if Adam Randall's going to play some running back? That was kind of fun. But let's go ahead and talk about what went right in 2024. A guy who is leaving, and I've talked about this. Phil Maffa is one of my favorite players on the team. Phil Maffa, I noticed him at Clemson in his freshman season when he was vying for the 4th or 5th string position. If you go back to that year, that was the year that Will Shipley and he were both freshmen, true freshmen. Lynn J. Dixon had just got the keys to the car from ETN. Excuse me. Things didn't work out well. We know what went on there. I still don't really know everything that went on there, but it's in the past. She had Kobe Pace and Darian Rencher, and Phil Maffa was just like chilling, hanging out, eating apps. He rushed for 1,115 yards, and he played the last 4 games possibly, beat up pretty bad. And when I saw Phil have to go to the sideline in Austin, football in the grand scheme of things is not important, but the dedication that he put into it. And I have a son. I have an 18-year-old. I have 2 sons. But I have an 18-year-old, and I can't imagine having to sit there and watch my son have to watch his last game after having such a really good career at Clemson. And a lot of people respects Phil. Phil, quietly, that I know of, sat behind Will Shipley, and he was the number one reason we won that game against Notre Dame last year. This year, he rushed for 1,115 yards, and that he was one of the things that went right at Clemson. He was one of the reasons that Clemson had some good games. And I said this in the preseason, and someone totally took it wrong. But I've also found out that you can explain yourself well. If people don't want to hear what you're saying, they're just going to make up stuff. But I said Phil Maffa, and you can go look this up. It's in my video collection. Phil equals 9 wins. You can pull the receipts. Phil equals 9 wins. And my idea was, out of the 9 out of the 12 teams that we would play this season, you could lean heavily on Phil, and he could win the ball games for you. And the idea was he can be that dominant, and it would give our receivers and Cade time to get some continuity going, and give Matt Luke some time to work that line, because Phil's the type, if there's not a hole, he'll create one. It's probably how he got hurt, unfortunately. But Phil Maffa was what was right with Clemson football in 2024. Let's talk about the receivers. I'm going to start with Antonio Williams. I know unless he hits, I hate to say this, but you never know what could happen. He was a redshirt sophomore this year. Last year he was injured. He had an incredible freshman campaign a couple of years ago. And I was worried about Antonio Williams. I really was, because Clemson they went through that period of time where receivers would come in their freshman year, do well, sophomore year, blah. It wasn't good. And then he gets hurt, and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Insert so-and-so's name here that didn't pan out after they got hurt or after they spent some time in the program. Antonio Williams, 75 receptions, 904 yards, 11 touchdowns. He had an incredible touchdown play against Texas. And the guy he can just play. He's not a big guy either. I mean, he's not a midget. No offense to any people who are midgets who could. I'm serious. I didn't mean that bad. Anyway, just keep talking, Brian, and get away from this subject as quick as you can. 75 receptions. The next guy below him is a true freshman, but has 41 reception, 45 receptions, 49 receptions is the next number. That's Brennan Stoll. We'll get to him in just a second. Antonio Williams came out, put his injuries aside. And what I mean by that is he didn't let last year handicap him this year. mentally, physically, all of that bunch of stuff. You get hurt, it starts to get in your head. You can't blame it. You can't blame people for that. 940 yards. He had a 57-yard long touchdown this year, 11 touchdowns. And unless something changes, the guy will be back next year. Next up, Bryant Wesco, a guy who was injured, missed some, I want to say he missed some significant time. 41 receptions, 708 yards, 5 touchdowns. Had an incredible game in the ACC championship. If my memory serves me correct, his receiving yards ranked third most in the ACC championship game. He's a true freshman. Midlothian, Texas. You talk about recruiting big-time players, 4 stars and 5 stars, and some of y'all will conveniently go, well, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it mattered with Wesco. Mattered with Moore. Mattered with Williams. Mattered with Brenningstool. Mattered with T. Higgins. It mattered with Amari Rogers. It mattered with Deion Kane. What about Hunter Renfro? I just named out how many guys to 1, and I'm not knocking Hunter. It matters. And you see the immediate effect of guys like these players coming in, and it was incredible. 41 receptions, 708 yards, 5 touchdowns. Incredible. Next up, TJ Moore. TJ Moore was a problem against Texas. He finishes the season with 45 receptions, 651, and 5 touchdowns. Notice how the ball is going to several people. It's hard to scheme for a team who has multiple weapons. Clemson had to play Texas basically without a running back. And they played them as well as they did. Kind of wonder if that worked in Clemson's favor to make them pass more. Something they need to think about. Anyway, TJ Moore, just an incredible season. The guy can catch everything. His ability to catch the football and his agility is unbelievable. Same with Wesco. His agility is just wow. A player we're going to be saying goodbye to this year, and one of my favorite offensive players, Jake Brenningstool. You know, he had to sit behind the incredible Davis Allen. And he leaves this season with 49 receptions, 530 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And I still believe with all of my heart they underutilized the guy. I hope that an NFL squad gets their hands on Jake Brenningstool at 6'6", 240. And I hope they give him the chance of a lifetime to go out and do something special. He goes down as, I believe, is it the most receptions in Clemson history for a tight end? There's some record that he set this year. I can't remember. Y'all please let me know. Throw it in the comments section. And I'll tell you this, y'all. You look at guys like Brenningstool, you look at guys like Davis Allen, who's gone now, and all the tight ends, Jordan Leggett. I'm forgetting a bunch. Heck, the great Benny Cunningham used to visit my next door neighbor growing up. So imagine this. I walk out in my backyard and there's flipping Benny Cunningham. Clemson's had some really good tight ends, and this one is one of them. We're gonna miss him. But think about this. Wesco's coming back, Moore's coming back, Williams is coming back, and barring something weird happening with the transfer portal, Tyler Brown never got going this year. And so you just kind of step back and hope that these guys that these guys, not hope, you step back and my train of thought totally left me there. I was looking at numbers, and I'm telling you, y'all know me. I've admitted I have to turn off the comment section. I have to be very careful because my mind just go, woo, there's a bird. These guys coming back next year, it's a big deal. And if the offensive line can continue to get better, we're losing people there. But I know the man who's in charge of that unit, and I trust him. He's not your regular coach. He's not your regular clipboard holder. He's not your regular guy who looks at the media and says something like, well, you know, the analytics, and you get ready to barf. But Matt Luke coaching this offensive line, even with the people we're going to lose, gives these returning players, Wesco, Moore, Williams, Tyler Brown, Christian Bettenker, is going to take Brenningstool's place. This guy's massive, and he was a really big recruit. True freshman. Barely played. 6'4", 245. Why did they have to send him out there? They didn't have to. These are the things that went right this year. And these are the things that will help us next year. These are the players who will help Clemson in 2025 go out there and win games. And hopefully the offseason coaching staff changes or change in strategy or whatever it may be, will have a bunch of incredible players to pull from. And so these guys went out and they did win an ACC championship. They did win 10 games. They did make it to the college football playoff. You know my commentary on certain things. I'm trying to keep this upbeat now. But these players, oh, they're the real deal. They are the real deal. And we have more talent coming in this year. We have Amari Adams coming in. I talked about Gideon Davidson. I talked about Marquise Henderson. There's the really good, God, what is his name? The really good offensive lineman that we're bringing in. Incredible. And so, folks, I'm just going to tell you right now, you know me. You know that I am, there's things I want to see fixed. But today, I just wanted to point out the things that went right in 2024. And this was part of it. Matt Luke is part of it. Matt Luke came in and showed Clemson fans what elite coaching looks like. He showed us in his interviews how an elite coach carries himself. When he was asked about, the injuries and how you're going to adjust based on the injuries, he told Dabo, that's the reason you have me here. Folks, that's an elite answer. The guy's elite. I mean, when the guy sneezes, it's elite. And so you get more of those guys at Clemson, you won't have to. All I say is you'll be able to book college football playoff tickets years in advance. And when you have players like this there, it gives you a chance to win games. It gives you a chance to win while things are being worked out. So congratulations to these guys. I know I probably how could I forget? Nolan Hooser. I want to say Hauser. It's Hooser. Nolan Hooser comes in, the top field goal kicker ever in high school football. And the only misses that he pretty much had were blocked field goals. And then he had he purposely missed that field goal in the ACC championship game. That was a high IQ play. He realized SMU was about to block the football. You go watch that. He purposely missed that. Nolan Hooser does not miss kicks that bad. In fact, if it gets off his foot, he's pretty much making it. Just ask SMU. They'll tell you. But if you look, he purposely missed that field goal. That was a high IQ play. And then, of course, he did what he did against SMU and hitting a 56-yard field goal to send them to the college football playoff, to get win number 10 and get an ACC championship. This guy is something else. And to have him coming back, barring something that shouldn't happen, hopefully, he's what went right. He's one of the things that went right in 2024. So, well, folks, I got to get ready. I got to be at church in the next 40 minutes. Some of the people I go to church with, some of them watch me. I try to keep it a secret. Anyway. But anyway, I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. I hope it's safe. I hope if you have to encounter family and friends that I say friends, but family who's it's a little stressful. Just try to remember the true reason for it this season. Try to enjoy the moment and try not to. I always tell my sons this. Sons, that's weird how I said that. You need to understand that while good things are going on in life, there will be bad things that will come up in parallel with it to try to take your joy and your happiness and your peace. And you have to choose. You have to choose, and it's hard. It's difficult. It's easier said than done. But you have to choose to look at the good things, choose peace, choose joy. And the only time you raise a ruckus is when it's something you absolutely need to do. Like it's a must. But I hope y'all have a peaceful Christmas Eve and Christmas. Y'all take care of yourselves. I'm this close to 7,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. It's crazy. The channel's taking off. But as I said, if you like what I'm doing, I hope you'll subscribe. It's free. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.